Hey, free photo book included with the purchase of this figure, though a mini one. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven today with a scale figure review. On my desk right here, there are two 1x4 scale figures by the very same Chinese brand called Bear Panda. The only two 1x4 scale figures by them. I have already reviewed Konata in the past, but I'm bringing her back for today's video because I am going to do a comparison. For today, this is a very special figure that I am going to go into details, and there were a lot of high expectations coming from people. And here, this 1x4 scale figure of Yuna, which is actually based on an artwork by this artist, where this character over here is supposed to represent her, like a 2D version of a 3D human being. This has been released in September, late September, around 27th of September in China. And for the international release, Japan and everywhere else, it would be anywhere between November to December. Some websites like HLJ is mentioning December instead of November release. Anyways, I think she will be out before the end of the year, seeing that she is already widely available in China for a price of 399 Chinese yuan. Meanwhile, the international Japanese price is around 9,000 yen before taxes and shipping, which is quite close to the Chinese asking price. I purchased this figure of Yuna from Bilibili store in Taobao, China's largest shopping website. And while Bilibili does ship internationally to many other countries, my country included, weirdly enough, they did not allow this figure to be shipped to my address in my country. Maybe because this is a China exclusive release, which is earlier than the international one, so they did not allow it to be shipped out. So in order to get my hands on this figure early, I had to make use of a proxy service, a forwarding service, right? And my recommendation for buying anime figures from China is Superbuy. Superbuy is a proxy service, a forwarding service, where you can just give them a link to Taobao, to any shopping websites in China, including Xianyu, JD.com, and more, and they will help you to purchase the figure and ship it to a warehouse where you can later on combine all of the purchases into a parcel and save on shipping cost before forwarding to your own country. The best part about Superbuy is the strong community support and customer service in the form of a subreddit r/Superbuy, which you should join as a member. And if you have any questions or you need any help, just ask it over there. And the moderators, which are Superbuy staff themselves, will get back to you very quickly. You don't have to take my word for it. You can head over to that subreddit and read through the user reviews and feedback from other existing Superbuy buyers. I am recommending Superbuy for those of you looking for a proxy solution to buy anime figures directly from China. Thank you Superbuy for sponsoring today's figure review of Yuna from Bear Panda. This figure would be about 46 centimeters, including the base and all the way to the top of the ear over here. Head height would be 39. 38. Head height 38 up to this top over here, 45. That is including the base. This Konata over here is quite a bit taller. Oh, actually, including the bunny ear, they are actually the same height. Almost the same height, but her head height over here is taller at 40 centimeters compared to 38 over here. Speaking of the figure unboxing process, it was a fairly straightforward one. We have a fairly solid and strong box over here. This is not easy to dent. This is tough. So you just plug the figure into the base where we have a couple of metal foot pegs, and then you plug in her ponytail as well as her bunny ears, and you put that magazine or that photo book into her hands. So I have two small complaints regarding the assembly process, which you might want to be careful with. The first thing was that when you insert this photo book into her hands, it is like, barely fitting in because of how far apart her hands are, but they actually fit. Like, she is holding the photo book at the very ends of her fingertips on both sides. So it is a bit hard to adjust things, but once you get it in, it fits there nicely, right? So that is a bit tricky, but not a major issue. My main concern, which is the second concern over here, is the two bunny ears over here. When I was assembling the figure for the first time, I thought that there was a quality control issue where the ears wouldn't fit in. Like you can see a bit of back. Yeah, the white color portion sticking out. But as it turns out, it was just that the parts are kind of tight. So you do need to put in a little bit of extra force to push it in. But at the same time, because the pegs are so thin, you want to be careful. Like the direction of your force must be exactly parallel to the peg's direction, or you might break it. And after I plugged the bunny ears in, what I did was that I push it in, pull it out again, like in, out a few times, and then finally it is starting to fit nicely all the way in. So there's no QC issue. The same thing applies to the foot pegs. The fitting is just nice, not too loose, not too tight either. So it is easy to take apart this figure and put back into the box if you wish to do so. Now, the main reason why I brought in Konata over here has something to do with foot pegs. So right here, the problem with Konata initially was how flimsy and thin the plastic is for the base. I mean, see this? So, I think the base is slightly distorted. Or no, it is flexing a little bit too much because of how heavy the figure is. But the base is barely supporting it. So when you put the figure on any surface, look at this. It is so obvious, right? Meanwhile, Yuna right here does not have this problem. The whole figure is solid and firmly sitting on my table over here. It does not wobble around. Yeah, sure, the figure is top heavy. If I were to shake it like this, she will still, vibrate a bit in a way. But it is nothing as bad as this Konata over here. I mean, you can see it right here, right in front of me, the big difference. So this is a huge improvement. Stability, I would rate it around 7 out of 10. Yeah, sounds a bit low, I know, but this is not bad for 1x4 scale. 7 out of 10 is considered quite good. We move on to the main feature of the figure, which is the sculpting. So this figure is cheap for a good reason. Now, if you compare her to the official artwork, right, of this character, they look exactly alike. I would say 9 or 9.5 out of 10. The accuracy of the face sculpt is there. Everything from the pose to the body proportions, everything looks exactly like the official artwork. And just like many other Chinese figure brands out there like Animaster, and also including this Konata figure, Yuna comes with a second face plate with this transparent plastic googly eye, as I call it, where, yeah, you really want her to be a waifu, so you are getting eye contact directly from a waifu. She stares back into your soul when you look at her from different directions. Do I like it? Well, for me, not really to my taste, but at the same time, it feels like it is a case-by-case basis. On some other 1x6 scale Animaster figures, it works really well. On this Konata over here, I think I prefer the painted faceplate. And the same thing can be said for this Yuna, because for some reason, these translucent eyes over here, it feels like looking at polarized sunglasses or a laptop screen, which means the viewing angle is limited and you need a really good light source, right? If your lighting is kind of dark or only from one single direction, sometimes when you look at the figure from extreme angles like this example over here, yeah, the eyes completely black out, which is kind of creepy. You can't see anything. So this looks exactly like how those, privacy screen protectors work, and it looks weird, it is not nice, so I prefer this decal eye faceplate over here, easily. The next thing is that BearPanda is also kind enough to give us two options to display this figure with the Photobook over there. This is a solid PVC, and here, the second option over here, optional part, you actually get an actual printed Photobook. It is kind of interesting that they actually went on to put in the effort to make something like this, which obviously costs money. However, at the same time, I can only give this figure a 7 out of 10 as well when it comes to sculpting. Maybe I'm a bit too stingy with giving my marks or my scoring, because this is by no means a very detailed figure. I mean, look at her outfit over here. This is basically just black color bikini bottom, not really bikini bottom, like black color hot pants, and then we have a bikini top and this white color sweater like thing over here. I don't know what it is called. It is like, plain white, right? There are no fine details on it. This is a simple character design actually. So for such a simple figure, when translated into a huge scale figure like this, it is extremely easy to manufacture and paint. The difficulty is not high. And I'm glad that Chinese figure companies are passing on the cost savings to us figure collectors. If Freeing was the one who made this figure, maybe it would be 32,000 yen instead of 36 or 38,000 yen, for example. I would say the lower detail side of the sculpting is not a problem at all, and in fact, having seen how good the face is on this figure, that is enough of a reason to buy one, especially at 9,000 yen. Some of you have even asked me to compare Bear Panda 1x4 scales like this one over here to Freeing's figures. Personally, I don't own any of Freeing's scale figures at the moment. I used to own them in the past. I sold them. But based on my own experience of collecting figures for 16 years now, is this better or equal or inferior to Freeing's 1x4 scale bunnies? My answer is inferior. But context is important. This feels like 70% of Freeing's best figure out there, but at 30% of Freeing's pricing. That is an amazing deal. When I say inferior, I am referring to paintwork mostly, 80% paintwork and 20% sculpting, and it isn't something I can show on screen because you have to feel it by touching the figure. Just run your fingertips nicely across the surface of the figure. It does not feel as smooth as higher quality scale figures by Japanese companies. Not just Freeing, Ultra, Good Smile, and everyone else. There is a clear coating, I can feel it. There is a protective clear coating, but of course they used a cheaper one. They used something that is not Mr. Hobby or Tamiya. Is that a problem? Of course not. It is not something that you notice until you start comparing with expensive stuff. Then naturally the expensive stuff is going to be slightly better, right? We are looking at diminishing returns. The best analogy I can give you guys is cars, right? A $20,000 car and a $30,000 car. The more expensive one is 50% more, but it is not like the performance or the comfort is 50% better. You're looking at 10 or 20% of improvement. Same thing you're looking with anime figures over here. Now, moving on to the paintwork, there are no flaws at all when it comes to paint quality. No ugly gaps or seam lines, no adhesive or glue leaking out from gaps, no paint scratches, paint transfer, paint bleeding, none of these kind of things over here with this figure. Everything is painted to precision simply because this kind of figure is easy to paint to begin with. So the paint work, like quality control part, is a 9.5 out of 10 easily, but the detail, the finishing, the refinement is a solid 7 out of 10 maybe, maximum. And lastly, the base, they look exactly the same as the Konata version over here. The only difference being this is more stable and the plastic is slightly thicker. And secondly, this is matte finish. This is glossy. Which one do I prefer? The matte one. Because glossy finish is very easy to scratch accidentally. So my conclusion for today's figure review, I think you already know the answer. Yes, highly recommended. So yeah, you actually have a few options. Wait for Japanese websites or maybe stalk Amazon Japan. Or you can get it from Taobao and make use of a proxy service, a forwarding service such as Superbuy. Until then, if you found this video to be enjoyable or informative, please do give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel for more figure reviews like this, for more anime figure content every week. And until then, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.